Yo, what's going on, everybody? Lena K here for a series that is beyond way overdue. Today, we are coming back with the 5 ways to use Amon. This series has been highly requested and highly neglected. So those who have been a big fan of this and who've been waiting to see, I do wholeheartedly apologize that it's not been done. I really am sorry about that. So, without further ado, let's get started with today being Gastrodon, one of the more used Pokemon this meta, and it's personally been one of my favorites in the past couple years. It's definitely a good all-around bulky Pokemon. It's only got one weakness, but that one weakness really comes back to bite it really hard, and that would be the Grass type. Okay, so. Like as usual, I'm going to give you guys 5 ways to use a Pokemon, but we're giving this a little twist from here on out. We're going to be explaining what the best Pokemon to be using with it would be. Now, given Gastrodon is only really weak to one type, it kind of goes without saying that there's only really a good fire or flying type needed. So, being the case, we kind of got to give that a miss because any good fire type, any good flying type, or any good bug and poison type to shut down the grass offenses are really going to be kind of a moot point for this one. So this is going to seem a little weird, but I do promise that later ones are going to be more precise of using like say Kartana or Nihilego or Pokemon X, Pokemon Y, Pokemon Z, Pokemon whatever. But let's get started, and the first one is my personal favorite set. This is the set I always use, and it's yet to let me down ever since I've started using it. This is the Solid Squish set, and the reason it's called Solid Squish is because I name mine Squishy all the time. Alright, so its item is leftovers just for that extra residual recovery. Storm Drain is practically the only ability, my apologies, that you want to be putting on this thing, because Sand Force is good, but it's very situational and it doesn't get very many good ground, rock, or steel types. And Sticky Hold, Sticky Hold could be good against knockoff users, but that's about it. That's really about it. Okay, so best thing to do is running a Ice Beam Scald for your offensive cores. It shuts down, it possibly can burn or freeze, which is a very nice touch, and especially against physical attackers. Next up is Recover to add that extra bulk that is always needed on Gastrodon, just to really aggravate the opponents. And also Toxic. Toxic being the most crucial thing, solely for the being of Porygon 2 being a massive threat this meta. Although Porygon 2 can't necessarily touch Gastrodon back, it's best to run a Toxic on there so it whittles down really quick, and that way you don't have that stall war of Recover and situations like that. Alright, so the EV spread that I personally run on Gastrodon is 124 HP, 252 defense, and 132 special defense. That's way it's incredibly bulky. You really don't need that special attack, especially if the opponent has a water type move you can always switch into. Protecting other Pokemon that you would have that are potentially weak to water types, or definitely sucking away Double Duck's Hydro Vortex, which seems to be a huge thing this year. Alright, so that kind of covers it up. You want to either run a Calm Nature or a Bold Nature. You don't really need that attack ever. And if you really want to use this in the Trick Room, you can always go Relaxed, or I think it's Careful. No, probably not Careful. I don't recall offhand. Alright, so those are the best things for this variant of Gastrodon. The next one is going to be a very questionable Gastrodon. Alright, so this Gastrodon is the UB Killer. This is running a Rindo Berry with a either Bold or Relaxed Nature. That way you have max defense. Because doing the calculations for it, a Leaf Blade from a Kartana will only do up to 97%, meaning that this Gastrodon can survive. And given that it's got HP Fire, this thing makes a great Trick Room counter for Kartana, because at that point you're surviving, the Trick Room goes up, you hit it again, and it goes down without any question. Running Earthquake to shut down other Ultra Beasts such as, well, it's really only Nihilego. This is a variant that's literally just built to shut down Ultra Beasts. It shuts down Nihilego. It does moderately decent damage, and I say moderately decent damage against Guzzlord. Anything else you can't really touch when it comes to Earthquake, because Pheromosa's resistant, Buzzwole is resistant, it's got great physical defense. So that's why we also have Scald, so it does quite a bit of damage, and you can potentially get that burn on the Celesteela, even though what you really want to do is have a Salazzle paired with this for Toxic. Yeah, Toxic. I was trying to think the ability, it's Corrosion. And of course, the Recover, just to kind of smack him in the face if you know you can't get touched by it. It's the best bet, is definitely running that. Alright, so moving on to the next one, we have the stock EMZ version. Now, this one was seen, if I recall correctly, in the San Jose Regionals. And this is kind of a guesstimate on what its defenses and stuff were. It's IV spreads. I didn't look at it myself. But you want to go for the Bold Nature because you're never using that attack. 252 HP with 68 defense, 108 special defense, and 80 special defense. I was looking at that. I'm super sorry. You want to run the Normalium Z because even if you are like super low in health, Normalium Z stockpile completely regenerates your health. It doesn't matter if you're at 5 hit points, 50 hit points, 100 hit points, or even 1 hit point. You're regaining every single bit of it. You also want to run and Recover just in case, and then Scald and Ice Beam. That way you can get some good damage on. And plus, once you get that maximum stockpile, you're not getting touched. Nothing is touching you, unless it's a crit or whatever. But that being said, this is definitely a good Pokemon if you really need a good tank on your team. But I do gotta say, you definitely gotta be wary of these grass types. And that kind of goes with every single spread that you run on here. And I can't really think of anything else to say about the stock EMZ except for the fact I've never actually implemented or tested any of these except for the Solid Squish set. So, I mean, let me know in the comments below how these work, if they work out for you, if they're good, if they're bad. I kind of did this on a last minute basis to an extent. I only had a small window of opportunity to record this. So these were the things of, oh, I threw these together to work. Alright, so next up is a idea given to me by a member of the VGC community on Pokemon Showdown called Z-Rob, and I gotta hand it to him because I was struggling to find a 5th move set, and I was not happy with the physical set. I was not happy with a very physical Gastrodon. There's just no way to really run the physical Gastrodon. Alright, so his set is Scald, Sludge Bomb, Toxic, Recover, which is very unique. It definitely shuts down Pokemon, it shuts down the Tapus rather solidly, especially Tapu Bulu, which is something I really didn't consider on the EV Killer. So be careful of that. Alright, so Citrus Berry, which is good, and the Recover, so that way it's a little less residual bulk, but just straight up right there bulk. Toxic for, I'm guessing, Porygon 2s. Seems to be a recurring thing that Porygon 2 shows up. And he runs a Bold with 236 HP, 156 defense, 12 special attack, 100 special defense, and 4 speed. I guess it's to outspeed any other normal squishy Gastrodons. I keep saying squishy because that's always how I named them. But, I don't know. Again, let me know how this one works, because this seems like a very solid set, but as I said, I've yet to test it out myself. And the last, but definitely not least for these, as I should say, is the Gastrodon. The Gastrodon. That really does not roll off the tongue as well as I had hoped. Alright, so this one is a full-out special attacker, with a kind of a, I can't say bulk, but it helps residual damage with Rocky Helmet, good sash breaker and stuff like that for physical attackers. 252 HP, 252, and for special defense on a quiet nature is probably the best way to run it, because this is definitely a trick room team. With Recover Stockpile, Scald, and Toxic, you do have to be careful of anything that has water absorb, or is just straight up immune to it, or resistant, such as Araquanid, other Gastrodons, Pelipper, Double Duck, and pretty much any other water types, any grass types. This is kind of a, if you need a water type Pokemon and you have everything else covered. Other than that, it's kind of an iffy set. This is definitely not my favorite set, but it is definitely good in a situational thing, saying you have pretty much Marowak covering your ground and your fire and your ghost and something else covering it. It's definitely a, as I said, situational, and I again want to hear what you guys' opinions on this are. And I do apologize, and I do promise that these things will be better. As I said, this was a window of opportunity thing. I didn't have a script ready because I had a Alolan Raichu planned, and that was a very big missed opportunity. I was not very happy with it. But again, I do apologize. So I might come back to this one and redo it at a later date. Alright, well guys, if you guys enjoyed this, please leave a like down below, and if you guys have not already, please consider subscribing. And if you guys do like this, let me know. Tell me what you guys want to see next in the comments below. Definitely let me know, because honestly, I want to get back into doing this. This is something that really needs to be done, and especially for newer people in the VGC who really want to get the hang of things, but don't know where to start. This is the best way to do it. You know, you see a set you like, if it works synergy, if it's got good synergy with the rest of your team, etc, etc. But again, let me know, and if you guys have your own sets, don't forget to leave it down in the description below if you want to share it. If you don't have to share it, but just say, hey, I got a set. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next week, where I'm gonna go and kind of guess. It's gonna be a guess. Probably Alolan Raichu is gonna be the next one. Alright guys, I will see you guys